Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to my review of tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw. And if you haven't seen my previous video that I uploaded earlier, my vlog of the birthday gifts I received, please go check out that video. Received a lot of good stuff from my mom and my sister, and also one gift from my aunt, which you'll see if you watch that video, my previous video. But anyways, I thought tonight's Raw, I thought it was an okay show. This Raw is the go-home show to TLC, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, which is this Sunday. I thought it was an okay go-home show. Had its moments, but there was some terrible, shitty stuff that happened on tonight's show. But all in all, I thought it was okay. An okay show. So the show opened up with Kurt Angle coming out saying that the Shield is back together and that they will be taking on Cesaro, Sheamus, Miz, and Strowman on Sunday. And then we see the Shield come out. It was old school. It was old Shield. Like where they played their old theme, their old entrance music, and they came down from from where the crowd is. It was really, really awesome. They had their vests that they originally wore. It was just awesome. It was really cool. We saw Roman saying to Kurt that Kurt has only two choices: either to get out of their yard, or me in their ring, or for him to get beat up. So, and then before they got in the ring, they did the where they stand and they surround the ring. That was pretty awesome. Then we had Seth Rollins say that it's amazing that 5 years ago the Shield came and they they really dominated. And he also says that he's proud that he is standing with his brothers again. And Dean says that they are going to go to war with the Masters, and that nobody divides and fights harder than them. And he ends up telling Cesaro, Sheamus, and Miz and Strowman to come out. So pretty much they end up coming out. Kurt Angle doesn't want them to fight, and he says that they will have their chance Sunday. So it was a pretty good opening segment. It was really good with the Shield. Then after that we saw Elias, Gallows, and Anderson in the ring, and they're pretty much doing a cringe-worthy, pretty bad segment where Gallows warms up his vocal cords to sing, and then he ends up saying nerd, 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 like that. But it was just funny in a terrible way. And then Anderson sings horribly. He sings the Honky Tonk Man theme for the Honky Tonk Man, which was terrible also. It was just cringe-worthy. And then that ended up setting up the match. Jason Jordan, Titus O'Neil, and Apollo Crews versus Gallows, Anderson, and Elias. And this match was meh, in my opinion. It was not really that good of a match. You had Jason Jordan, Titus O'Neil, and Apollo Crews win the match with Apollo hitting a back suplex on Karl Anderson. So it was pretty much a meh kind of match. Not that good. Not that good of a match. And then after that, we see Renee Young interviewing Emma about her going into a match with Asuka, who is debuting Sunday at TLC. And Emma says, she's sick of hearing about Asuka, and she says that, she started this whole women's Revolution, which she ended up messing up. She called it Women's Evolution. I'm like, oh God. And then she goes on to say that, she's a social media star. And, she says, oh, what has Asuka done? And then Alexa Bliss ends up coming and says to Emma that, she has started the women's revolution. And Alexa thanks Emma for that. I'm like, Emma didn't start the women's revolution. That's a joke and a half. And then, Alexa says, tonight for Emma to team with her and, take on Mickie and, who her partner will be. So, but it was meh interview with Emma. Yeah, I mean, it's a joke and a half saying Emma started this whole women's revolution. Yeah. And then after that, we had Cedric Alexandra versus gentleman Jack Gallagher. We had Rich Swann and Brian Kendrick out there during the match. He had Brian Kendrick interfering in points of the match, but Rich Swann made the save to take out Kendrick. And Cedric Alexandra won the match with the lumbar check to Jack Gallagher to score the win. But it was meh kind of match. Like the crowd didn't really seem into it. It was just meh. Another not so good match. Then after that we had Miz TV. Miz came out with Cesaro and Sheamus and Curtis Axel. And Cesaro and Sheamus say they are going to take back the Raw Tag Team Championships, tonight, and that they are going to shatter the Shield in 3 pieces this Sunday. Sheamus says he's going to break Dean's back when he hits him with a chair, and Cesaro says he's going to push Seth off the ladder, and Miz is going to put Roman through a table. Miz also says that the Shield can't contain to them, him, Cesaro, Sheamus, and Strowman. And then that's when Miz starts to bring out Strowman. Strowman ends up saying that none of the Shield can stop them, and that he's gonna tear them up one by one until the Shield are done forever. Miz says the Shield is no match for him, Cesaro, Sheamus, and Strowman, and that he asks the crowd if they should take them on, if they should take on the Shield. The crowd starts chanting, yes, yes, and then that's when Miz goes, really, his famous really, really. Then Kurt Angle ends up coming out saying that he agreed to only a 3-on-4, not a 3-on-5, because Curtis Axel, people were chanting, the crowd was chanting for Curtis Axel to be the 5th guy if this 3-on-5 match ended up taking place. But that's when Kurt says he only agreed to 3-on-4, not a 3-on-5 match. And Kurt says that in order for Miz to have a 3-on-5 match, Strowman has to win tonight against Roman in the steel cage. But if Roman wins, it's going to be a 3-on-3 at TLC. And Strowman will not be in that match. So, and then he goes on to say that, during the tag team, Kurt goes on to say that during the tag team championship match and the steel cage match, everyone is banned from ringside. That means, Dean and Seth, and then Cesaro and Sheamus in the steel cage match. Nobody could interfere. So, but all in all, it was a okay Miz TV segment. Then after that, we had Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox. This was a typical women's match. Wasn't great or perfect though, but you had Sasha win the match with the bank statement on Alicia. And then after the match, we just saw Alicia going crazy and screaming. And Sasha was actually bleeding from, I think, from the nose. Because we saw her bleeding, a little bit bleeding. So, but all in all, this was your typical women's match. It was meh. Then we saw if that Sasha was being interviewed, and then it was cut short because Alicia attacked Sasha, and we saw Alicia push an official, a referee, and she was just going crazy, still going crazy. So I mean, it was funny though seeing Alicia Fox go crazy. We've seen it before though. Then we had Enzo Amore coming out. He was complaining, saying, "Oh, how he got screwed and robbed of the Cruiserweight Championship, of his Cruiserweight Championship by Kalisto, and that he got thrown into a lumberjack match by Kurt Angle." And then Kalisto ends up coming out saying to Enzo that his mouth is like a 7-Eleven and it never closes, which I found really funny. And Kalisto says that at TLC he will still come out as Cruiserweight Champion. And that pretty much led to Arya Daivari, Drew Gulak, Tony Nese, and Noam Dar come in, and they just beat it down on Kalisto. And Enzo ended up enjoying that, and then he just chants the "You deserve it," And then we see Mustafa Ali come out. He takes out Drew Gulak, Tony Nese, Noam Dar, and Arya Daivari, and also Enzo. But then all of them come back and they start to beat down on Mustafa and Kalisto. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense now. Why are these guys helping Enzo, siding with him, when they just beat the hell out of him a couple of weeks ago? And they're like, "Oh, he's a disgrace to the Cruiserweight division." And I'm like, now you make them, side with Enzo. What? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Ugh, man. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Then after that segment, we had Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose versus Cesaro and Sheamus for the Raw Tag Team Championships. And this was a decent match. Wasn't perfect or great by any means, but it was an enjoyable match. Seeing Rollins and Ambrose go at it against Cesaro and Sheamus, with the Shield stuff, but it was very entertaining. We had Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose win the match. They retained the tag team championships because Ambrose ended up hitting a Dirty Deeds on Cesaro. So, but all in all, it was a good match. It was a decent match. And then after that, we had Curtis Axel saying to Sheamus and Cesaro for them to, stay strong, and for them to stay strong. And Braun Strowman ends up coming in. Curtis says that if he loses tonight, he's going to be sitting on the side. Strowman's going to be sitting on the sidelines with him. And Curtis Axel says that he wants to fight Roman. And Cesaro and Sheamus say to Curtis that, if he is afraid of Roman. And then Curtis goes on to say, "Oh, I'm gonna find Roman." So, but it was a decent little segment, decent little backstage segment. And then after that, we had Finn Balor coming out, saying when Bray introduced Sister Abigail last week, he said that he didn't know what to think and that he thought it was just a mind game. Finn says, he's got his tricks too, and that he will slay a monster with a demon of his own. And then what was really cool in this segment is that, Finn says, his demon has no fear, and then, it cuts to Finn with, the demon makeup on, and then, cuts back to his face without the makeup on. It was really cool. It was really awesome. It was a really cool segment with Finn Balor. We didn't get Bray Wyatt's Sister Abigail tonight, or as I would say, cross-dresser Wyatt, as I would call Sister Abigail. But it was just all Finn Balor in this segment. It was, like I said, it was an awesome segment. I really enjoyed it, especially the cuts to Finn with the makeup and him without the makeup. It was really awesome. It gives me a little hype for their match at TLC. So then after that, we had Mickie James and Bayley versus Alexa Bliss and Emma. And this match was pretty decent. It was a pretty decent women's match. It was entertaining, in my opinion. It was back and forth between all these women superstars. We had Mickie James and Bayley win the match. With Mickie ended up kicking Alexa and pinning her. So, well, no, it was a decent match. It was decent. It was entertaining. Then we see Curtis Axel walking backstage, and he spots the Shield, and he goes to there. And then what sucks is that it cut to commercial, and we didn't really see what transpired from there, which sucks. And then we saw Miz say to Strowman that it's a privilege for him to fight with him, Cesaro, and Sheamus, and for him to win tonight. The match, the steel cage match, because it was just backstage with Miz and Cesaro and Sheamus and Strowman. It was a little backstage segment. Then we see Mickie is being interviewed about going into her match on Sunday against Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. Mickie says that Alexa hurt her for what she said about Mickie, and that she called her old lady. And Mickie says that she is proud for what she does in this business, and the best thing for her career is to take the Raw Women's Championship back home to her son. And she says that she's going to whoop Alexa around Sunday at TLC and become a 7-time women's champion. So it was a pretty good interview with Mickie James. Then after that, we saw Miz looking for Curtis Axel. He ends up calling his name, and then he finds Curtis Axel hanging upside down from a forklift, which was funny. And then when Raw came back from commercial, we saw Renee Young interviewing Miz. Miz ends up telling Renee that Curtis is not the fifth man in this supposedly 5-on-3 match. So, but that's really that was really fucked up of Miz to say that Curtis is not going to be the fifth that Curtis was not the fifth man. So, and then we had, after that, we had the main event. Braun Strowman, of course, Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns in a steel cage match. And this was a pretty decent cage match. It was back and forth between Strowman and Reigns. Very enjoyable. You had Cesaro and Sheamus coming in to interfere, and then Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose came out. And they were just taking out Cesaro and Sheamus. We had Roman trying to climb out of the cage, but Strowman ended up holding on to Roman's wrist, and then that led to a suplex from the top of the cage, which was an awesome suplex off of the cage. And then the surprise that happened towards the end of the match, KANE ends up returning. He comes up out of the ring, and he ends up being a heel, and he ends up choke slamming Roman Reigns. He gives him 2 choke slams, and then a tombstone pile driver, and then Strowman hits him with 2 running power slams. Strowman hits Roman with 2 power slams to score the win. And throughout this match, Miz was on commentary. And then after Strowman hit his last running power slam to Roman and scored the win, Miz ends up getting on the mic and says, the 5th guy is KANE. And so now it's going to be a 5-on-3 at TLC. It's going to be the Shield versus Miz, Cesaro and Sheamus, Braun Strowman, and KANE. So that's going to be pretty cool to see. It was very unexpected that KANE was going to be here tonight, and that KANE was going to be the 5th man for this match on Sunday. And in a way, it's kind of deserving for Roman to get chokeslammed and the tombstone pile driver from KANE because of what Roman did to Taker at WrestleMania, where Roman beat Taker. And I guess KANE is getting a little getting his sort of revenge on Roman for doing that to Taker. And I guess KANE, the election mayor thing that he was doing, I guess he didn't make the cut, so I guess that's why he's back now. So, but overall, it was a decent, enjoyable steel cage match between Strowman and Reigns. Really enjoyed it. So, yeah. So, anyways, that's it for this review of tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely check out my previous video of the gifts I received if you haven't seen it. And give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow night for my SmackDown review.